a small hobbit who became a legend in the magical world of the Lord of the Rings. A young and frail individual who discovered his inner strength to defeat terrible monsters. In today's episode of The Hero's Journey, we will explore how Frodo Baggins' journey in the Lord of the Rings perfectly exemplifies the hero's journey, a concept immortalized by Joseph Campbell in his study of mythology and narrative. Get ready to follow the transformation of a simple hobbit into a legendary hero and learn valuable lessons for your own journey. We will divide the trajectory into famous stages of the monomyth, those phases that every hero must go through to fulfill their destiny. Common World. Frodo Baggins began his story in the comfort and normality of the Shire, a place where the biggest danger seems to be a missed dinner or a postponed party. This phase of his life teaches us about the importance of tranquility and peace, but it also alerts us to the dangers of our comfort zone. Our common world may be safe and enjoyable, but should we always remain comfortable throughout our lives? Or at some point do we need to prepare to face new challenges and live a great adventure? Call to adventure. When Gandalf reveals that Bilbo's simple ring is the key to saving the world from Sauron's tyranny, we see the hero experiencing the dilemma of the call. At the right time, life invites us to leave our comfort zone and face great battles. It's a call for us to honor this great opportunity to be alive and seek to live grand experiences that will make us evolve. However, everything new or unknown causes fear, and this was also a reason for our hero Frodo to hesitate in accepting the call to adventure. Here, we learn that growth starts with accepting tasks and responsibilities that initially seem beyond our capabilities. Refusal of the call. Frodo's initial choice was not to embark on the journey, showing us that it is natural to feel fear in the face of great challenges. But this refusal can often mean not taking advantage of the great opportunities that rarely come our way in life. But our little hobbit demonstrated a great virtue of heroes: courage. When he finally accepted the call of his soul and faced his fears, he showed everyone that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. Frodo launched himself into the unknown world and decided to be the protagonist of his personal legend. Meeting with the mentor. Every hero needs support and guidance from those more experienced who came before them. This is precisely the role that Gandalf plays in his life. The Grey Wizard becomes a mentor to Frodo, encouraging and guiding him. This highlights the importance of having mentors who advise us and even pull our ears when necessary. In our lives, seeking guidance from experienced people can be crucial to our success, providing the wisdom we need to overcome obstacles we yet do not know how to handle. Crossing the first threshold. By leaving the Shire, Frodo truly accepts his mission, crossing the threshold into the unknown. This is also known as the point of no return, meaning the hero needs to be convinced of his choices and should not look back after making a decision. It is normal that in our lives we end up making difficult decisions and often have a burst of courage that makes us embrace great challenges. But shortly after, the mind tries to sabotage us and say that we will not succeed. However, it is precisely at this moment that we must continue to listen to our hearts to move forward and silence negative thoughts. This stage teaches us about the importance of firm decision-making and confidence in our personal journeys. Every great challenge begins with a courageous step toward the unknown. Trials, allies, and enemies. On the dangerous journey through Middle-earth, Frodo finds allies who become his chosen family and enemies who test his will. Allies provide knowledge, resources, weapons, and support in difficult times so the hero can continue advancing on his journey. Additionally, allies are those who celebrate the protagonist's daily small victories with him and keep the faith alive that together they will go further. Here it's worth mentioning Sam, his faithful companion who was always by his side and teaches us the importance of wisely choosing who our true friends are. However, we cannot forget the villains or antagonists, as they play an important role in the lives of heroes. They provoke battles, conflicts, and offer resistance so that the hero needs to grow in pain and express all his potential. Great villains forge great heroes. The little hobbit had to face giant monsters, demons, spiders, and supernatural forces to fulfill his destiny. In each triumph, he demonstrated more of his strength and ability to accomplish what he had been chosen for. The trials we face in life teaches us the importance of resilience and determination. In our own lives, it's not just the challenges that shape us, but also the alliances we form and the antagonists that reveal much about who we really are. Approach to the inmost cave. As Frodo approaches Mordor, he faces his greatest trial. This moment shows us that sometimes the most challenging part of our journeys is facing the inner shadows, symbolized here by the corrupting power of the ring. Often our greatest enemy is ourselves. Our flaws, vices, and weaknesses are tested in the most important moments before we achieve our dreams. Interestingly, inside Sauron's tower, Frodo nearly fails his mission by succumbing to the power of the ring. This failure teaches us that we are all fallible, and we can waste great opportunities that will make years of efforts be thrown away. That's why we must always stay vigilant and alert to not fall in the same traps, and try to learn from all the falls during our story so that we avoid stumbling over the same mistakes again. It's worth noting that on the path to great victory, we may lose many battles, but only those who give up the good fight can be considered a failure. Hero's resurrection and return with the elixir. With the destruction of the ring, Frodo achieves his reward. His name is immortalized by all four corners of Middle-earth. Stories are told about his great adventure, and he is revered by many different people. But the journey back to his Shire is marked by a feeling of emptiness. This provokes the lesson that although we may achieve our goals, the experiences change us in ways that can make returning home different than expected. Frodo returns completely transformed, unable to resume his old life. We learn here that journeys can change us internally, and that sometimes facing our toughest challenges prepares us for new beginnings, not for returns. The hero's journey is a great cycle of beginning, middle, and end. But even at the end, there's always a chance to start over. Frodo was invited on another adventure, just like his relative Bilbo, both choosing to depart from the Undying Lands. And all of us, even after this brief earthly journey, will continue on the caravans of the invisible world, where the journey of the soul is eternal. In summary, Frodo Baggins' saga is a powerful metaphor for our own struggles and learning. Each aspect of his hero's journey resonates with the lessons we face in our lives. We hope this video inspires you to find the courage to start your own journey and stay firm in fighting the good fight to live your personal legend. Don't forget to like, comment on this video, and especially subscribe to our channel to receive new episodes of The Hero's Journey. That's all for today. I'll see you next time.